Hello all and welcome to my tutorial series on finite element method, and today we shall continue our discussion on spring element, but we will go a little bit deeper and we will consider an assembly of two springs such that let's first draw the two springs. This would be our spring A with stiffness constant Ka, and this would be our spring B with stiffness constant Kb, and these two springs are connected in series at this point. This is the point which is common to both the springs. Let's say that this end is our node 1, this one is node 2, and this one is node 3, and the forces which are acting exclusively at these three nodes are small f1, small f2 and small f3 respectively. And because of the forces acting at these three nodes, let's say that the displacement at these three nodes are u1, u2 and u3 respectively. Then the relationship which connects the nodal forces and the nodal displacements at an elementary level is given by, let's first take the example of element A. Let's first take the example of element A. Then the relationship is given by f1, f2 equal to, see, nodes 1 and 2 are related to element A, and this element A is having a stiffness constant Ka, so the stiffness matrix here would be Ka minus Ka minus Ka Ka, and the nodal displacements in this first element would be u1 and u2. Similarly, for spring B, the relationship between forces and nodal displacements would be f2 f3 equal to, see, f2 and f3 are this nodes 2 and 3 are related with this spring element B, and the spring element B is having a stiffness constant Kb, so the elementary stiffness matrix would be Kb minus Kb Kb minus Kb minus Kb Kb, and the nodal displacements would be u2 and u3. Fine, but see, none of these forces are actually acting exclusively. In fact, at point 1 there will be a combined effect of all these forces f1, f2 and f3. Similarly, at point 2 there will be a combined effect of all the forces f1, f2 and f3. Of course, it is intuitively the effect of f2 would be more here, but the effects of f1 and f3 cannot be neglected completely when we consider node 3. Similarly, when we node 2, similarly when we consider node 3, then the effect of f3 would be more, but the effect of F1 and F2 cannot be totally neglected. Hence, we need to take into consideration the effect of all these forces and look at the big picture here and come out of the elementary level and look at the global level. In the global level, we shall have that instead of F1 and F2 and F3, the total force which is acting at this node 1 would be, let's say, capital F1. Similarly, the total force which is acting at point 2 may be considered to be F2, and the nodal force which is acting at 3, when we consider the combined effect of all the forces, then it can be considered as capital F3. Instead of small f3, it may be considered as capital F3. And then what would be the relationship between the nodal forces, that is capital F1, capital F2 and capital F3, and the nodal displacements? That would be something different from the one that can be seen from the elementary condition. So let's now determine the relationship between forces and nodal displacements when we consider the global scenario and not the elementary one. But for that, what we need to do first is find out the global stiffness matrix, because see, ultimately from both this equation and this equation, one thing can be noticed here, that ultimately it is on the left hand side it is only the forces, and on the right hand side it is first the stiffness matrix, then it is multiplied by the displacement matrix. So this phenomena or this procedure would be followed when we would be writing the equation for global condition as well. So first let's find out the stiffness matrix at a global level. For that, see, let's just repeat what we have, or let's just rewrite the elementary matrix, the stiffness matrix at an elementary level. That is, when we consider element A, then the stiffness matrix would be C Ka minus Ka minus Ka Ka, and this element 1, it is associated with the displacements u1 and u2. Hence, let's just write these things here. u1, u2. Let me write it with a different color. u1, u2, u1, u2. Similarly, for element B, the stiffness matrix would be Kb minus Kb minus Kb Kb, and it is associated with displacements at nodes 2 and 3. So it would be u2, u3, u2, u3. Okay, fine. Now, when we look at the global level, that is the whole system at once, then see, the total displacements are of all those 3 nodes. That is, we would have to consider all the nodes u1, u2 and u3 for writing the stiffness matrix or the global stiffness matrix. Similarly, here also it would be u1, u2 and u3. Now we are in a position to write down the global stiffness matrix. How? Let's see. See, from U1, wait. Okay, from U1 and U1 we can write K A. Similarly, when we consider U2 and U1 we get minus Ka. That is, we consider U2 and U1 we get minus Ka. Then when we consider U1 and U2, that is U1 and U2, we get minus Ka. We write it down here, minus Ka. Similarly, when we consider U2 and U2 we get plus Ka. That is U2 and U2 we get just a minute, yeah, okay, yeah. So when we consider U2 and U2 we get Ka. Now this element 1 is over, so we'd head over to element 2, and in element 2 when we consider U2 and U2 we get Kb, but there is Ka already sitting here, so we'll just add this one, Kb. Similarly, when we consider U3 and U2, what we get is minus Kb. There is U3 and U2 we get minus Kb. Then when we consider U2 and U3, there is U2 and U3 we get minus Kb. We get minus Kb here. Similarly, for U3 and U3 we get K. There is U3 and U3 we get K here. At the remaining places you just write down 0. So this is the method with which we can find out the global stiffness matrix. Now this is the equation, or this is the expression which gives us the global stiffness matrix. So now we are in a position to write down the equation connecting force and nodal forces and nodal displacements at a global scale for the system that we have considered here, and that would be F1, F2, F3 equal to Ka minus Ka 0 minus Ka plus Kb minus Kb 0 minus Kb, and perhaps I missed that, U3 we get Kb. And on the extreme right it would be the displacement vectors u1, u2 and u3. So this is how we formulate a global formula from the elementary levels when we are considering a one-dimensional case. Thank you.